Hey, restart the video, bro.
Stand up, buddy. Buddy, stand up. This nigga came in the room with a This nigga came in the room with a full heat uniform, nigga.
A what?
Oh my god, what you the 15 man nigga stand up? What are you wearing? You got this shirt.
I'm the team, boy. Team, boy.
This nigga like you better go try out right now.
Hey,
oh
hey,
my
I'm about
god,
to go try out tomorrow, boy. How them boys playing?
You ain't gotta lie to kick it, my nigga. You ain't gotta lie. You ain't gotta lie.
What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of You Ain't Gotta Lie podcast. This is episode 8, I believe, right?
Yeah.
I think it's 8. I think we're up to 8, yes. And it's a lot to talk about. We gotta talk about these NBA playoffs that's underway. We gotta talk about the NFL draft. Sadly but surely, yes, we need to talk about it. Another thing, what else we gonna be talking about today, Money?
We're going to be talking about our favorite cartoons and NIL.
Can't go wrong with that. The NIL topic is something we kind of wanted to talk about for a while, so we kind of waited. But at this point, after some things have recently transpired, it's time to finally talk about it. But to start things off how we normally do, we're going to go ahead and hop into some of our favorite cartoons. You want me to go first, Money, or you want to go first?
Nah, I'll go first because you like to spoil them. All right.
All right, go ahead.
All right. As a baby, my mom told me my favorite cartoons were the Flintstones and the Jeffersons. I mean, not Jeffersons, the Jetsons. Flintstones and the Jetsons. I'll say, but as a kid, my favorite was number 1, undisputed, Static Shock. Man, he was the first, one of my first black superheroes. He had the dreads and everything. He had the locks before they became popular. He had a black father and everything. He had it was a wonderful show. He had the sister and everything. So I'm like, that has to go number 1 for me with Static Shock. And he had that purple on. He had that purple on. That was Jones 5. Okay.
Looking like a chocolate prince
2.
out there.
Hey, that's where you gotta be, bro. That's where you gotta be. Number 2. This is number 2. Rocket Power. I loved Rocket Power, man. They were into all of them extreme sports, man. They're like, well, we don't just surf. We go out there and catch some air on these skateboards. They were doing all types of crazy things. Man, it was incredible watching them and their journey and just doing all these crazy things. Shoot, at one point, I had got a skateboard and thought I can go out there and skate. I tried to do a kick flip and almost busted my kneecaps.
People don't realize how impactful cartoons are on kids for real. Like, we see something, we be like, yo, this is the coolest thing ever. So after that, you like, I'm finna go try this 100%. Like, it's like, I'm not even thinking twice about it. And then you like, yeah, like you said, you be gonna hurt yourself like, dang, maybe this isn't the best idea.
I tried it, man.
Cartoons are very influential to kids, especially when you see some shit that's cool when you're young. Oh yeah, you out the door with it.
Hey, my third one is Code Name Kids Next Door. Man, they made me not even want to grow up because
I swear.
they had that, they had those different episodes doing all those crazy, amazing things, everything. And I was like, I don't want to grow up. And then it was one of those episodes that was sad that one of the agents, he's like, well, I'm about to wipe all y'all memories from this. And he becomes an adult. And that show was really impactful. It was really fun. And then, honorable mention. Hey, Arnold. I wanted to be, at one point, I wanted to be like Gerald with the high top. How you think I ought to look with that high top?
I mean, it would have been better. You've been rocking the Even Stevens for 20 years, man. This man Money's getting a 1 all around for 20 years. So, yeah, it would have been nice. You can get a high top. It's okay. This man's never had a different haircut besides the one he has on now.
All right, let's see yours, man. Don't be hating on my haircut, though.
All right. All right. So for me, one of my favorite cartoons growing up, we're gonna start with Ed, and Eddie. It aired from '99 to 2009. It was obviously a cartoon created by Danny Antonucci, excuse me. It was on Cartoon Network. It shows around about three pre-adolescent boys known as the Eds, whose name is Ed, and Eddie. Ed, or they call him Double D, who hang around a fictional suburban neighborhood, or the cul-de-sac as they often refer to it. And Eddie was the original hustler. Eddie was out here trying to get a bag. He wasn't in the house playing video games. He was outside trying to get to this money so he can get some candy. It shows you at a young age, like, hey man, you want it, you gotta put in that work to get it. And Eddie tried. He tried to go out there and go get it, man. The show never showed adult. Another fun fact about it. It only showed the kids' POV. Anytime an adult was involved, it was always like their shadow or something. They never like said, "Oh, this is so and so's parent." Like there'll be a shadow or it'll be like a voice. Or it was always different, but they never physically showed any parents. And despite constant failures, the Eds always stuck together. So it teaches you at a young age, like even though you may fail, always stick with your homies and give it your best shot. Eddie, believed he was in charge. Double D was the brain, and they always would try to plan out these different schemes, but they never go according to plans. No matter how clever the plan was, something chaotic always happened to derail them. But like I said, they kept trying and they kept, sticking together with one another. So definitely up there for me. The next one I would say is Jackie Chan Adventures. This one slept on. The Jackie Chan Adventures aired from 2000 to 2005. It was an action comedy cartoon. It had 5 seasons. It came on Kids WB. I love this cartoon. It started around archaeologist and martial artist Jackie Chan, who would go up against evil forces hunting magical artifacts, and they'll help. He had the help of his uncle and his niece at the time, Jade, in the cartoon. And I love this cartoon so much, I wanted to be an archaeologist. Like I was looking up colleges that had archaeology as a major. And after doing research, I learned that a lot of archaeologists make money from writing books, and I had no interest in being a part-time author. The big key things it talked about was like family and loyalty. Jackie, Jade, and Uncle are the heart of the show. No matter what's going on, they always got each other's back. They always stick together. Good versus evil, the classic battle of light and dark. Jackie doesn't want to be the hero, but he's forced into that position, and he doesn't shy away from it. He steps up and does what he has to do. And it talks about heritage and culture. It was a ton of Chinese mythology references and martial arts and all type of things that was referred to Chinese traditions and beliefs over there. Because obviously Jackie Chan's Chinese, so I thought that was super cool because you're learning things. Some of the modern twist things they had was East meets West, where it talked about the old ancient Chinese traditions being the modern, actions and medicines and cultural fusions of today. Another one was Power Must Be Balanced. They had these it's centered around what's called these magic talisman. And they all had how they got the Chinese New Year's? They got the year of the dragon, the year of the pig, all the talisman had a different animal on it and all had different powers. But each one came with a weakness. So it's like if you abuse that power, it always backfired on you. And the last thing it had, there was growth and redemptions. There was a character in the show named Taru. Taru was a bad guy. He was one of the bad guys' muscles. And then, slowly they showed him the right way through guidance and helping him realize his true purpose. He became a good guy. So he went from being the right-hand man of the horrible dude in the show to helping Jackie Chan stop him in his evil ways. And it always ended with Jackie Chan answering real-life questions. The real Jackie Chan answering questions in live action. So I thought that was pretty cool, man. I love that cartoon. So last but not least, one of my all-time favorites, Regular Show. Aired for 7 years from 2010 to 2017. It was created by J.G. Quintel, and it was on Cartoon Network. It had 8 seasons and a movie. Mordecai and Rigby are two 20-some-year-old slackers who work at a groundskeeper at parks. They try to avoid work and actually just chill and do nothing all day, but their laziness always spirals into wildness, reality-building adventures involving monsters, time travel, and other dimensional stuff. Regular Show is an anime series that just follows the misadventures of these two. Like, they go through crazy things. The reoccurring things from this one was They avoided responsibility. They could have the simplest of tasks. They just didn't want to do it. They're lazy, and I can relate to that. I relate to that because like now as a grown man in my 30s, it'd be days where I'm just like, man, I don't want to go to work today, but I have responsibilities to take care. I have things on my plate, so it's like I have to deal with it. So I definitely relate to not wanting to go to work. So, but they kind of took it to the extreme end of it. But most episodes start with the crew dodging work and trying to do other things, and then something apocalyptic happens. It talks about friendship and loyalty. Mordecai and Rigby argue a lot. They butt heads, but at the end of the day, they're brothers, man. They're that close. They have each other's back no matter what. They always look out for one another. And as the seasons progress, it showed a level of coming of age from beneath the realness. It's a show that shows them growing up from early 20s into late 20s and early 30s of maturing and learning, how to navigate through life and how they should go about certain things. And the last thing that it features it was very nostalgic. It had a lot of 80s and 90s culture themes in it, which obviously were 90 babies. And it had like things that were VCH tapes were still a big thing. Arcades are still a big thing. So I really love that. And it starts off as a laid-back workplace that turns into a wild twist and involves in the deep serialized story about the destiny of love, regret, and all the cosmic balance of the world. And some of the hidden things in it was the fear of growing up. Like that's something I kind of still struggle with. Like not to get off topic, but like as a 30-something, I'm afraid to get old. It's something that simple. I'm afraid to get old. It's something that I think about a lot, but not to go too deep, and we'll talk about that another time. But it talks about existentialism. The show casually explores fate, meaning, and the battle between light and dark, and consequences of choices. Every time they maybe go too far, they have to clean up the mess in the end. So something as simple as their boss saying, "Hey, go rake the leaves in the park." They'll be like, "How about we pay a bunch of 8-year-olds to go clean up the leaves in the park?" Then the 8-year-olds form a gang and over there throwing grapes at random people walking by, and then it's like they're trying to stop them, and then they fuse together and become a mega gang. It's crazy. It always becomes something crazy. So now we have craters on the grounds yard. They got to fill those holes, which takes hours to do, opposed to 20 minutes of just raking the leaves. And at the surface level, it seems like a stoner type of cartoon, but the regular show is really about navigating adulthood, holding on to friendships, and embracing the weirdness of life. And it was honestly anything but regular. And I feel like I relate to that a lot. From 18 to 28, so many things changed in my life from, me trying to pursue professional sports and stuff like that and being engaged at one point. So it's something I definitely feel like no matter the negative experiences, I still stay true to myself. Like, me. I got a super tight circle. I don't talk to many people. I'm very closed in on who I am, and I value having a great brothership instead of a casual friendship with people, and it makes me appreciate like certain things. Like obviously, like you, like I see you as a brother, man. I appreciate having you. So it's just like that, like things like that. It makes me really understand because we butt heads all the time. People don't see that because we do the podcast and we see a lot of things the same in sports, but me and Money have butted heads before, and it's gotten bad. But at the end of the day, I love him. That's my brother, and I wouldn't want to do this with anybody. I wouldn't want to go through this journey called life without somebody by my side besides you, man.
Same here.
So I love you, though.
Same here, man. It's all love. When I tell people, I'm like, yeah, I got 3 brothers. Have to let them know that. But yeah, we have butted heads, but it be behind the scenes type of thing. But I think it's because we're both passionate. That's what happens when you're passionate about different things. And I'll say I agree. Like I understand Mordecai and Rigby with the raking the leaves because I remember as a kid I would have to rake leaves. I remember I had to rake leaves.
He wasn't a fan of that.
I was not a fan of that, man. I'm like, man, forget this. And then when you become an adult, you have to rake leaves because you got a yard and stuff, and it's like
you gotta take care of those responsibilities.
Yeah. It's a pain, man. But hey, you got to do it.
Yeah, it's a part of it, man. And what's the term? I hate adulting. That's what it is. You got to adult. You got to go be adults.
That's a fact.
So, anything else you want to add to these cartoons, sir?
No, I was wondering if you had any honorable mentions. Any shows that almost made the list.
Static Shock almost made the list for me. I love Static Shock. It's like it was Virgil, a teenager going through the obstacles of life, trying to figure it out, and he had these superpowers. Essentially, thrust upon him. Like he didn't want to be a superhero. He didn't want to. He was at the wrong place at the wrong time. So that's how he got it. So I love Static Shock as well. Another one I really liked was Justice League. I like the Black Green Lantern. He's like one of my favorite superheroes. So, but yeah, probably in those two directions I would have went. Those would be my honorable mentions for sure.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. If I'd have had one more, I'll say interesting. I like the wild thornberries.
Wild Thornberries was nice. That was a good one.
I like that
Can't be
one.
mad at that. But all right, you ready for our next topic?
Yeah, I'm ready for the NIL.
All right, so next we'll be talking about NIL in college sports. And to the viewers at home who don't know what NIL is, NIL stands for name, image, and likeness, which is essentially the program they created for these college athletes to start getting paid. I know Money is very passionate about this topic, so I have a couple points I'm just going to lead with, and then he's going to take the mic. So, the biggest thing with it is I don't agree with it. I know Money doesn't agree with it as well. I feel like it's so many things. Like when I was in high school, the reward for playing college sports was getting a free education. If you're on scholarship, they're paying for your education. Obviously, as we all know, a lot of athletes don't take advantage of that, but that was the reward. Like they're paying for your education. College is expensive. Some of these colleges cost $80,000 a year to go to. So to being on an athletic scholarship, that was the reward. That
Free
was the
meal
reward.
plan.
Free meal plan, and it's like all that came with. And some of these D1 programs, they have unlimited Gatorade in the locker room, unlimited muscle milk in the locker room. Like they can go there any time of day and go grab some. They used to take bags of it back to their room. Like that stuff's expensive after a while. Like you can buy like little 8-ounce jugs of muscle milk, a 6-pack for like $40, $30. So the fact that they got that for free, it's so many perks of being at these schools, but it's uneven playing fields for first and foremost. Big schools get big bags. Smaller programs can't compete with the financial pool of the larger schools and wealthy donors of a big city market. The gap between the powerhouses and mid-majors are going to get wider and continue to get wider. Another thing that's not talked about, locker room jealousy. If you're on a team with a guy making $2 million in endorsements and you thinking like, dang, like, I'm the starting left guard. Why am I not making that money? It creates tension. And then certain people get money and they be full of themselves. They think they're better than everyone else. We've seen that before. People change and they don't know how to act. And the recruitment becomes a bidding war. Players no longer care about development. They don't worry about the best fit. They don't worry about coaching. You sit down like, hey, we want you to come to Boise State. Okay, how much you offering me? It's not about, well, what does the depth chart look like? How many running backs have you put in the NFL? How many, that no longer matters. Because that's what I used to look at when I was going through my recruitment process. What can this school do to benefit my career going forward? How can I develop and become better for that next level? Kids don't care about that. They're so focused on getting money now to the point to where, excuse me, it's going to lead to players not being fully polished and not having the right mindset. And they're going to fizzle out. They're not even going to make it to the league. Because they're like, oh, I got $2 million in college. And they're going to run through that money. An 18-year-old with $2 million is going to burn through that. It's as simple as that. And the distraction of school and sports. Managing brand deals, brands and agents. And don't get me started on these shady agents reaching out to these young kids who don't know no better. Who's taking advantage of them. They're going to lose focus on their academics and on their on-field performance. Because now because in the NFL, I've heard the stories, there's a lot of guys that this is a job to them. They're not as passionate about football no more. They're good enough to play in the NFL, so they're just clocking in and out. They're just doing it until they can get to a certain point in life. Because some guys go into the NFL, after a year or two, they're like, hey, I'm going to play 8 years, make X amount of money, that I'm going to leave and pursue other things because I don't want to do this. And it's sad because you have guys who do I blood, sweat, and tears this. So it's unfortunate. Another thing that makes it suck is lack of regulation. The NCAA refuses to step in there and regulate it. It's like y'all regulate everything else. You took guys Heisman away from making money off of their name, image, and likeness. Now you don't want to step in and put some caps on this? It's ridiculous. There's no universal standard. Every state and school and conference have different NIL rules, which makes no sense, and it makes it hard to enforce. Now you got the risk of being exploited. Young athletes sign unfair contracts and get taken advantage of, like I said, by these shady agents. And the last one I want to talk about is very short-term thinking. Athletes going to college thinking now, like, man, I can go in here and make a quick bag and I'm straight for life. $1 million is a lot of money, yes, because I'm sure they'll give you one lump sum, but it's a lot of money. Once you get that money, what you gonna do? I'm gonna go get the new challenge, the scat pack. Okay, you did that. Oh, I gotta get my mom a house. Okay, you bought your mom a house. Half of your money's gone now. So it's like you're chasing something. You got these 18-year-olds pulling in 7 figures while some of their teammates barely scraping by, and I gotta mess with team chemistry. So it's just, I don't love it. I think no 18-year-old kid needs to make more than $100K a year. $100K a year is plenty enough money for any college student. What are your take on it, Money?
Okay, I'm gonna ask you this question because I've been thinking about it. What did you think about that manager from that school getting an NIL deal?
The manager from a school again? I didn't hear about this.
Yeah. The team manager, he got an NIL deal.
The team manager guy. I mean, he obviously is popular to get an NIL deal. I don't see how.
Yeah.
I
I,
didn't hear
I was
about that,
thinking,
though.
I was thinking that was crazy, but I have a few conversations about NIL, and it's getting crazy because they're starting to give high school students NIL deals now.
Yes, I saw that.
Okay, so I'm gonna go into this, right? I'm gonna talk about a school because, like you were saying, some schools can't compete anymore. St. Francis made this Final Four, and now they're moving to a D3 school, which is ridiculous. It's like, hey, I'll say it's a money issue because you can no longer probably bring in the players anymore. Why would I go to St. Francis when I could go to Duke? They offering me $1 million.
Yeah.
So that's an example. Then we have the top WNBA players who were projected to go to the WNBA. They turned it down. They said, "Hey, I'll stay in college and make more money." The first one I'm gonna talk about is Olivia Miles. She's projected to go #2 at one point. She ended up transferring from Notre Dame to TCU. She's a guard. She was supposed to go to the WNBA, but hey, I'm making hundred
She's
thousand,
actually really
almost $1
good.
million.
She's actually transferred. I forget what she transferred to, but she entered the portal.
TCU.
She can commit to TCU. Okay. Yeah, she's
Yes,
actually really good.
yes. And then another one we have is Ozzie Fudd from UConn. She said, "Hey, why go to the pros right now? I'm making enough money for my family staying here. I'm making that bag here." So it's becoming a problem like for the smaller schools. You can no longer compete. UConn already was a powerhouse. Now they're gonna even be a bigger powerhouse because they can outpay everybody. It seems like it might become like baseball. The teams that usually
That's
win are the
terrible.
teams that spend the most money. Another one is Flazé Johnson for LSU. Everybody, I know a lot of people have heard of her. She's a guard from LSU. She's a rapper also. And she decided to stay at LSU. She said, "Hey, why go pro? I can stay here."
Yeah.
And then we have a guy from Tennessee. I know this is a topic you want to talk about. I'm gonna just say Nico. Nico from Tennessee. Him and his dad wanted more money from Tennessee, and Tennessee said, "You know what? You can go kick rocks." They said you can go kick rocks, and the funny thing is, he ended up transferring to UCLA. What is amazing is the UCLA quarterback transferred to Tennessee. They basically switched teams.
Did they really? I didn't know that.
Yes.
Another thing too, though, is like the money he got to go play at UCLA is like less than the $2 million that he was asking for. So you went through this whole process to beg for more money. Which, let's be clear, Nico did not play well last year. That defense carried a lot of that team. They helped them make the playoffs. But his mindset was like, oh well. And this is another issue with it. He was like, well, I was slated to get paid for 14 games but we made the playoffs, so now we're doing extra, so I should be repaid for that. And it's like, dude, you didn't play good in those games. A lot of those games, especially some of the big games they lost during the regular season, they lost because of poor quarterback play. Him missing guys wide open, him not being able to make routine throws. Like, you shouldn't have been starting, honestly. From what the tape I seen on you, you weren't ready to start as a redshirt freshman. You should have probably sat another year and developed. But because you were a 5-star coming in, and obviously the pressures that these programs are getting, until finally, which I respect the head coach, he finally said, enough. No one's bigger than the program. And as much as I'm not a fan of Belichick being the new head coach at UNC, he's going to have that same mindset. Like, no one's bigger than the program, so I don't have to worry about – because there was a rumor that, Bill was going to go get him. And Bill was like, no, we're good. We have no interest in going to get him. So I'm like, thank God. I couldn't imagine having a diva. You know what's worse than a diva wide receiver money?
A diva quarterback.
Exactly. We can't tolerate that in the program. So it just, the thought of having him on the roster made my skin crawl. So I'm happy it didn't work out. I wish that young man the best of luck, but you got to get your priorities ordered. You can't let your father dictate your life because he's not where he wants to be in life. So he's trying to get more money from his son through his son asking for more money to play college football. He should be working on his development because right now he's looking like an undrafted quarterback.
You know what's hilarious? His brother actually transferred to UCLA too.
His brother was at Tennessee?
No. He wasn't at Tennessee, but he did actually transfer to UCLA too.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, brothers tend to want to play together, so I get that.
And then the last topic with it, JT Topping. He was projected to go from pick 20 to 30, and he ended up staying in schools. He's making $4 million staying in school. They say the 30th pick in the NBA draft, the 30th pick in the NBA draft is supposed to make 2.3 mil. And he's making more than that staying in college. That's ridiculous.
Which is insane. That's another thing that's wrong with it. No college athlete should be making more than pro athletes. It was at one point last year they were talking about Shedeur Sanders is making around $4 million or $5 million in NIL money, and Brock Purdy was making $1 million. And I don't care who you are, bro. If you're a college athlete, you should be making no more than no professional athlete. That's why it needs to be capped at $100K. $100K money. $100K is enough money to do a lot of things. You can get a car with $100K. You're in college. You can live off $100K. You're in college, man. You're living on campus. What do you need $100K for? And I'm being very generous with $100K. You don't need $100K as a college kid, but cap it at the top people. Like that gymnast from LSU, she's making $3 million because she's pretty or whatever. She doesn't need $3 million. Unless she gets into modeling, that's a different conversation. But like $100K is more than enough for a college kid. So you can buy you a nice car. You don't gotta go get a Lambo or the new Scat Pack. Like, you don't, for what? So yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me. No college kid should be making more than a pro athlete.
Me and you both
Point
agree.
blank cleared.
What? We both agree. How about the Miami quarterback got a doggone Lamborghini or some exotic car? Why?
It's for what? And
So
it's like,
next
bro,
topic.
you haven't even played yet. You haven't even played yet.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous with that one. With this topic, I'm gonna say I agree with you. Have a cap. I'll say $100K is generous. That's more than enough. You could if you invest that, you can make a lot more with it, because it shouldn't be, hey mama, I made it to college.
Right.
What?
The league has always been the goal.
Yes.
And now we're just
So
settling for the stop before.
let's talk about the league. I'm ready to talk about the league. Let's talk about it. We're gonna talk about the NBA playoffs, because I know you've been.
Hey.
I'm gonna let you talk about the Magic series, and I'll talk about the Heat series. But I'll break down the West. You want the East or the West?
Let me see what teams I got. I got the West broken down, so you can take on the East.
Okay, I'll do the East.
Obviously,
All right, go
skip
ahead.
the Magic, but yeah. All right, you want me to start off? All right, so I'm gonna breeze through these fairly quickly. Coming in, the OKC Thunder are up 3-0 against the Grizzlies. Nothing to really talk about. The Grizzlies are a joke. At one point in the game, Ja went for a 360 reverse layup and like threw the bitch over the rim. It's like, what are we doing, dog? The Grizzlies are an unserious team. They shouldn't be in the playoffs right now. OKC is a juggernaut. In game one, beat them boys by 50. Game two, beat them by 30 or something like that. So Oklahoma City, the NBA's top seed, showcased their resilience by erasing a 29-point deficit to defeat the Grizzlies in Game 3, a comeback tied for the second largest in playoff history. You cannot give up 29 points, a 29-point lead in the NBA. Just an unserious franchise right now. They need to just pack up their bags and get ready and go home and 1-2-3 Cancun. Next one, Lakers are 1-1 with the Timberwolves. Yeah, get the brooms. It's bad. Lakers are 1-1 with the Timberwolves. Game 1, Luka had 37 and 1 assist, which, if you just look at the box score, it's like, oh, Luka was hooping. Luka was not hooping. 37 points for Luka and 1 assist. You know what that equates to? That means he accounted for 40 points or 39. I think it was a 3 he assisted on. So Luka was responsible for 40 points. For Luka Doncic to get his full value, he has to account for more than 40 points. We're used to Luka getting 49 and 9. So him having 1 assist, I think, really hurt their chances to win that game. Ant-Man had 22, 8, and 9 in that game, which, did you know this stat about him? Whenever he has 8 or more assists, he rarely loses. This past season, he had 8 assists 8 times, 8 or more assists 8 times. He's undefeated. In his career, he's like 23 and 7 or something like that. Whenever he has 8 or more assists, which is kind of crazy to think about. Don't let him pass the ball. So Anthony Edwards is excellent when he's out there dishing up dimes, which led to them honestly losing.
You heard what he told
Game to the Lakers.
Bronny? You heard what he told Bronny?
Bronny?
Bronny had posted a picture of him at the beach or whatever, and Ant-Man said, "Don't worry, I had you and your daddy on vacation."
That's Ant-Man. He gonna talk it. He from the South. He gonna talk his shit, boy. He gonna talk it. Game 2, the Lakers kept the Wolves under 100 points, which is a hard feat to do in the NBA. Great defense. LeBron was out there playing center. Everyone killed me in the comment section saying LeBron playing center. LeBron's been primarily playing center in these playoffs if you're watching the games, but no one wants to talk about it. No one wants to talk about how Jay was right. Has he not been playing center in these playoffs, Money? Exactly. LeBron's playing great defense at the center position against Rudy Gobert and all of them. Looking excellent. They kept him under 100 points. It was such great defense at the point. Ant-Man said after the game, like, yeah, I've never seen that type of defense. It caught me off guard. Which he probably shouldn't have said, to be quite honest. But, yeah. Game 3 is tonight, right?
Yeah.
I think game 3. Yeah, game 3 is tonight along with Orlando's game 3. Next, we have the Clippers. The Clippers lead 2-1 against the Nuggets. Honestly, I think as long as you got the best player in the world, you should be fine against a team like the Clippers. The Clippers have came on late. I'm not going to fully discredit them, but you have Kawhi Leonard, man. Kawhi Leonard's
that dude balling.
He's been balling. I ain't gonna take it from him. He's been balling.
Hey, I got a lot. Hey, I got to say something, bro. Got to say something about him. That dude. Hey, did you see that video I sent you? Him learning James Harden moves.
No.
All right, I'm gonna have to see that video.
Terrible.
That boy out there dribbling and everything, pulling up, hitting threes. I'm like, oh man, this is a different dude right here.
He's not. But anyways, I'm not gonna get on my soapbox. I still got the Nuggets in 7 no matter what, unless Nikola goes down. Game 1, Nuggets won in overtime. Nikola had 29, 12, and 9. Game 2, they lost because he didn't play well, which you're entitled to a bad game. It's a part of basketball. It's a part of any professional sports. You're gonna have a bad game. It's just when you're a mega star like Nikola, we can't afford that. Nikola got to do better. You know, he had 7 turnovers, which when you have the ball that much, especially with him, he's a point center. When he has the ball that much, he'll go like 4 or 6 weeks, then he'll have that game in there. He'll have that 6-7 turnover game in there. It's just unfortunate it came in the playoffs and it ultimately led to their loss. But I still like the Nuggets in this one, even though the Clippers lead 2-1. We'll see how that one goes. The next one, Warriors are tied 1-1 with the Rockets. If Jimmy's going to be out long term, this would be easily a gentleman's sweep. But from the reports I seen earlier today, he should be fine. He has like a muscle contusion in his butt. They're saying he'll be okay. He should be ready to go tonight. He had it apparently with the Heat on one of their playoff runs, and he played. He didn't miss a game after he got the injury, so he should be fine. He should be out there, and which is a weird trade-off. The Warriors are an older team, but they have a ton of playoff experience. The Rockets are a younger team with very little playoff experience. Now, there is a world where that youth can run them off the floor, and especially if Jimmy gets hurt, they're going to blitz the hell out of Steph. It's going to turn ugly real fast, and I can see the Rockets still in this game because a lot of people don't see it. The Warriors are the favorite in the series. So unless Houston figures it out, it's not looking good. Look like the Rockets are probably going to lose this one, Warriors in 6. But if we don't see Jimmy show up either, that could lead to the Rockets. So we're going to see. It's been good so far. We're going to see what happens. Let's talk about the East now.
All right, I got my uniform on. Coach, put me in the game. Coach, put me in the game. I'm ready.
This nigga has a full uniform on.
Put me in the game, Coach. Okay, we're going to talk about the Cavs versus the Heat. The Cavs are up 2-0. You know, I might have to be making that trip to Miami as the 15th man. So Eric's supposed to put me in the game. You know, well, the thing is, the point guard for the Cavs, we're not mentioning his name because he don't deserve it to be mentioned, but the point guard for the Cavs said this about Tyler Hero. We know who to go after in order to win the game. Basically saying Tyler Hero don't play no defense.
No, he doesn't.
Okay.
If you look at the cold white guys in the NBA, like the real nice ones, they don't play defense. Austin Reeves does not play defense. Luka does not play defense. Tyler Hero does not play defense. They nice on the offense end, but them boys do not play defense.
Jokic either. Jokic ain't a great defender.
Jokic does not play defense. So, but it's cool though because they bring so much on the offensive end. It's like, all right, we can kind of live with it. But yeah.
Okay.
Evan Mobley won DPOY too. You didn't mention that.
Hey, forget him. Forget him. I ain't got much to say about the Cavs. I'm about to skip over them bum boys. All right. Dude's got to whoop my team like that, and then talk trash about it. So I ain't got a lot to say about them. I'm gonna go on to the Pacers and Bucks. I have to admit I was wrong.
Hero scored 33 in game 2. You don't want to talk about that?
He scored 33, but he got
almost had a triple double.
Bro, Donovan Mitchell got 30. He scored 30 and got 30 on his head. He out there looking like a dude we know. In 2K, we ain't mentioning no names, but he played like a dude we know in 2K. Get 30 and got 30 dropped on him.
I love the shots.
You know who you are if you watch this video.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I know exactly who you're talking about. That's why it's so funny to me. But all right, what's the next game? Oh my goodness.
We got the Pacers and Bucks. The Pacers are up 2-0. I was saying that Donovan Mitchell was doing his thing for the Cavs. Well, the Bucks need that boy Damian Lillard to come out there and do something because they down 2-0. Damian Lillard need to follow Donovan Mitchell and get him a 30-piece out there. Because Giannis out there trying to do what he's trying to do.
I apologize in advance. I wanted to look up this stat. I'm sorry I'm not to the viewers. Give me 1 second. Did Damian Lillard play? I missed this game.
They were saying he should be back. That's what they were saying. They were like, hey, Damian Lillard should be
So he
back.
hasn't played yet, correct?
No, he hasn't played yet.
Okay.
But he will be back.
There was rumor he was coming back game 2, but he didn't play. He did play. He did play game 2. He played 37 minutes, had 14, 7, and 3. Yes.
Oh wow.
And that's bro. I don't know, man. That's just fishy to me. You're out with a blood clot. You came back in less than 6 months. That's anytime any players ever had a blood clot, it was a minimum 6 months. It's like, were you really dealing with stuff, or did they just want to shut you down? And then you played 37 minutes back. Money, he hasn't played basketball since he got hurt. And you just played 37 minutes right out the back. How are you able to do cardio? Because if you're on blood thinners, like we believe, you can't be physically active like that on blood thinners.
No, you can't.
And don't get me wrong, he didn't have the greatest of game with 14 points, but 37 minutes, that's some real time.
It is.
So I don't know. So that's a little fishy to me.
It is. It is real fishy that he played that much. The last game I'm gonna mention, because Jay's gonna have this one, is the Knicks versus the Pistons. New York is up 2-1. We picked New York to win. We thought that they were the better team, and it looks like it. They're up 2-1. So Jay, you're gonna have
For
to
what it's
mention your
worth, I
favorite
am
team,
liking
man.
what I see from Cade Cunningham. He looks really good in the playoffs, especially since this is his first year. I think that whole roster is new to the playoffs. So I think next year, Pistons, if they continue this trajectory they're on, they're going to be a really good team next year. But I mean, it's their first year. It's Cade's first year in the playoffs. I just need him to look good. Like how Pablo's been looking good, I need Cade to look. He has. He has. Game one, he looked kind of out of his element, but when you're a baller like Cade, you figure it out, and he did. But like you said, they're not going to beat the Knicks, man. It was a good year for them, though. Win, lose, or draw this series, they had a great year. So they shouldn't hang their head on that. And last, we're going to talk about the Boston Celtics. They're up 2-0. All right, moving on to our next topic. So you want to talk about...
You know that quick as heck, bro.
Game one, the Celtics beat us 103-86, losing by 17. This is what makes the Celtics a tough matchup for anybody. Derek White had 30. If someone would have said, hey, Jay, you know you're going to lose because Derek White had 30, I would probably laugh. But Derek White's a good player. I'm not going to take it from him. He's a good player. Tatum had a double-double, but Tatum does what he does best in the playoffs, disappear. I don't think he played that well. Paolo was doing everything he could. He had 36 and 11. Franz had 25. I mean, I don't know, man. We just didn't have enough firepower. Tatum didn't play game two. We lost 109 to 100, losing by 9. Jaylen Brown had 36. Porzingis had 20 and 10. When does Porzingis grab rebounds? Now he's grabbing boards. Once again, Paolo had 32 and 9, and Wagner had 25 again. It's just not enough. Sadly, it's looking like we're not ready. And I picked the Magic in 7. I thought we would shock the world. I didn't have us going down 2-0. I had us taking one of these games and then coming back, losing the first initial game, then tying it up. But 2-0 is tough. But we come back to Orlando. We got 2 games in our home court tonight. At worst case scenario, we have to get one of these games. I can live with a gentleman's sweep. If we get swept, that means we're not as good as a team as I believe we are. Like I said, we're one of the best defensive teams in the league. We're holding the Celtics to under 115 points, which I think needs to be talked about. Yes, we're losing these games, but how many teams can say they held the Celtics like that? 103 game 1, 109 game 2. It's not looking good, but we need to win one of these games. We play tonight. Game 3 is tonight in our home court, so I'm looking very optimistic about it. Maybe I'm being delusional. What are your thoughts on this series, Money?
I think they're gonna take game 3. I think they're gonna take game 3, at least make it 2-1. I don't see the Magic getting swept. I just don't see that happening. I
That's
think they're
what I'm
too good of a
saying,
team.
man. Paolo's averaging 34 and 10, Money. What else do you want from this man? 34 and 10 in the playoffs. What do I do? And then Franz is averaging 25 in the playoffs so far. So it's like, I don't know, man. Our 2 guys are showing up because usually that's what happens. When you get in the playoff series, your team, somebody on your team that's very important isn't showing up. Yeah, we got a couple of injuries, but the big guys, our big guns are there. So I don't know, man. Our 2 guys are showing up. I don't know what else to do.
The rest of the
It's
team
rough.
is at the bus stop. Them 2 driving the bus. The rest of the team at the bus stop. Hey,
Very
we about to
sad.
get
But
to your favorite part, man. About to get to your favorite part. You ready for it?
yes, sir.
We're gonna talk about the NFL draft recap. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about who the Dolphins drafted. I had you talk about who the Panthers drafted. We talk about surprises and other arguments, type of
You
things
want
we
to talk
thought were
about
better
the
players, whatever.
players taken first?
Okay, we can talk about that.
The first pick in the NFL draft, the Titans select Cam Ward. Me and Money kind of were aligned on that. You need a quarterback in this league. No matter what one may think of Cam Ward, you can't win without a quarterback. And Ward was the right pick there. How he will do, time will tell. But Tennessee made the right decision going after a quarterback. I didn't like how they started off saying, "Oh well, we're going to draft a generational player." I don't believe Cam Ward has shown us generational, but he showed enough to go number one. What are your thoughts on the pick, Money?
I'll just say we knew he was going to go number one because there were reports coming out that they were giving phone calls and they were like, "We're not trading the pick." To me,
Right.
Cam Ward had like
After they
he
said
hasn't
they're open
looked
for business.
yet. Yes, he hasn't looked like the consensus number one pick like a lot of years. To me,
Agreed.
and it seemed like he was trying to get on Tennessee's good side. They asked him who his top five receivers. Two of the receivers were on the Tennessee Titans. Let's just be real. The Titans do not have really good receivers. They're not top five at all. So we just knew that he's going to Tennessee. That was now pick two was a huge surprise to us.
Jacksonville traded up and went and got that. And for all the people at home, if you're doing your research, Travis Hunter is from Florida. He's from West Palm Beach. A lot of people try to say, "Oh, he went to high school in Georgia." He grew up in Florida and he moved to Georgia. He's from Florida. So stop trying to take our talent, Georgia. We know how y'all got Tyreek Hill, okay? Don't try to take Travis from us. But yes, that was I surprised by it? No. Did I agree with it? No.
I'll say yes. I was surprised
Did it
because
make
of the
sense to
trade.
me? Yes. It made sense to me because you're getting a bona fide stud at corner. But some of the reports I've been reading is one of the sports analysts broke it down. He said he believes, he put it in college terms. He said he believes Travis is going to major in receiver and minor in corner, which I think will be a mistake. He needs to major in corner and minor in receiver. Be a full-time corner and play some, like Dion did, full-time corner and play a couple snaps on the offense here or there. You can't be a full-time starter on both. If Jacksonville's going to give him a chance to try to be a full-time starter on both, it's going to be tough because he has to learn both playbooks. He has to have the endurance of a marathon runner. And NFL is a lot harder than college. That's why not everyone makes it to the NFL. So, I mean, I don't want to count the kid out. He obviously believes in himself. And as a man, I'm never going to tell a man not to believe in himself. But based on the history we've seen so far, it's not possible. But we'll see. And if it is possible, then it was a steal. It was worth it. Because you get a guy who's a starter on offense and defense. I mean, if it works out, then that was a great move by them to go get a guy. Because they need secondary help. They don't need another receiver, in my opinion. They have Brandon Strange, who's a really good tight end. Brian Thomas Jr. is a dog. He's probably a top 10 receiver after his rookie year. So I don't think they really needed a wide receiver. So I'm okay with them getting Travis because, like I said, he's going to be primarily a corner for them. So I didn't hate it. I thought Cleveland would stay here and get a quarterback, but yeah. You were surprised by it?
Yes, because I expected Travis to go here, but I was surprised that Jacksonville traded all the way up and what they gave up for it. They gave up a first this year, a first next year, and a second. So they basically gave up, they basically switched first and gave up first and second. So if Jacksonville is bad next year, and that also showed us that Cleveland's planning to not try to win this year. That's why I expect them to go out
trying to go get the Prince.
That's why.
Which I mean, I get because you still got a big part of Deshaun's contract left, and then you would have been investing a lot of money because the higher the picks, the more money you spend on those players. So they shored up. We'll get to the Cleveland, but yeah, they traded from number 2 to 5, which was a Jacksonville pick. So I mean, I don't blame Cleveland. How do you turn down 2 1s? So I don't blame Cleveland at all.
You stay in
Number
top
3,
five too.
exactly. You stay in the top 5, and you can get a quality player in the top 5 picks. Number 3, the Giants took Abdul Carter. We felt this was a trainer. Money and I both had this one right on the head. He's a stud. I think he's going. If he's the guy we believe he will be, they're going to have the best D line in football. Now I have heard rumors that um, someone's going to be the odd man out in that defensive line. I don't think so. I think they're going to find a way to utilize all those guys and have them on the field at the same time. It's going to be inquisitive. I know. Is it Thibodeau? I don't think it's Thibodeau. They have one of their guys coming up on a contract year. I can't think of his name. And the thought is he's going to be replacing him and he's going to walk in free agency. So, or he may get shipped. I think you should always try to get value for a guy instead of letting him walk, especially if he's good. I think it is Thibodeau. Yes, it's Brian Burns, and they're going to let Thibodeau walk, and they're going to have Abdul Carter on the opposite side. So, I think it's a really good matchup. I think they should try to make it work before just giving up on them. Number 4, Patriots took Will Campbell. Once again, another pick we kind of seen going. I personally thought New England would trade down. I thought that would be in their best interest to trade down because, you have so many holes in that roster. But I don't blame them for taking the guy who's considered one of the best tackles in the draft. Arguably the best. Him and that guy from Texas was talked about a lot. So that was a good pick for them. He fits what the Patriots represent. So root for him. What did you think of that one, Money?
It was something we expected. We called this one. We're like, hey, they're going to go get a tackle. You have to for your quarterback.
Yeah.
So this one was what we expected. We expected the top 5 picks. No, we expected I'll say the top 4. The 5th pick, I expected something different, but we expected the top 4. We thought Travis was
You
going.
got 4 out of 5 right.
Well, I'll say Travis, but I got the wrong team.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give
got
you
the
credit for
wrong
the player. I text when I was teasing them, but I give you credit for it. You got 4 out of the 5 players right, so I definitely give you props for that. But yeah, Mason Graham, I had him slipping. I really had him slipping. I saw a world where he'll be on the board for Carolina or another team, but he went number 5, which he is. He's a top 5 player in my opinion. But I did have teams prioritize the other needs. But as we've seen with the whole draft, that didn't happen. So, but yeah. So overall, I mean, it was a very shocking draft. Certain things were happening that I was not ready for. I think the biggest shocker to me was Pittsburgh passing. I'll take that back. That wasn't the biggest shocker to me. When Pittsburgh passed on Shador, I was like, oh, they really want Aaron. What did you think of Pittsburgh passing on Shador?
I'm gonna tell you this. My biggest surprise was number 6, the Raiders taking Genty. That was my biggest surprise. I didn't expect them
he's
to
on
take
a
him
lot
that
of mock
high.
drafts. He was on
Yes,
everybody's
but
mock draft on 6.
But that was high to me. And I
You
agree
like
with you.
Gentry.
My biggest surprise was Shador falling out of the first round. I was
Yeah, I
surprised
was
that he
shocked
fell
by
out of the
that,
whole
honestly.
first round. Like, how? The whole first round, nobody wanted him? I couldn't believe it.
And I saw
I
the
could.
Giants traded back into the first round. I'm like, okay, they finna go get him. Because I mentioned that on the draft special. I'm like, I could see
Yes, you
the
did.
Giants traded back into the first to go get him. Now, granted, in my scenario, I had them taking Travis, and Travis was putting a bug in their ear. But they traded back in, and I was like, okay, they finna go get him. And they took Jackson Dart. And I've been high on Jackson Dart, so I'm not going to shill on the pick because I really do like Jackson Dart. I think he is a really good player. But I think Shador is the best quarterback in this draft. And the fact that he fell out of the first round is bonkers to me. Will
You know
Johnson
why,
fell out of
right?
the first round is bonkers to me.
Nick Imawari fell out of the first round. I have a list
Okay.
of people that I was surprised about that fell out of the first round. I'm gonna tell you, uh, and Shador, Luther Burden. He was projected one of the top receivers. He fell out of the
I ain't
first
gonna
round
lie. I
too.
don't think Luther Burden's good. I was never high on him. I know you liked him a lot. His film didn't impress me enough to be a first round pick. So I knew he was gonna fall out of the first round.
But I'll say the other Nick, after Nick ran what he ran with his
Yeah, I
size
saw
and
some safeties come
measurables,
off the board over him. I was shocked by that. I thought he was better than a couple of the safeties taken. So I'm right there with you. I was shocked by that one.
because the safety from Georgia was good, but he's not 6'3",
He's not
and
better than Nick.
everybody's like
No.
the
He
instincts and
ran
stuff. I'm
better than
like,
Nick. He jumped higher in the back. Yeah.
no, Nick ran faster, jumped higher,
That's what I'm
everything.
saying. Excuse me. Nick, yeah, Nick did everything better. Excuse me.
So who was your biggest surprise
So
besides Shador?
I think Jackson going to the Giants. And someone made this point, and I kind of agree with, is like Shador probably went into these interviews saying, hey, this is what I like. This is what I like to do. And with the mindset of saying, like, if they're going to draft me, they're going to draft me. Opposed to how Cam Ward went into these drafts saying, with the glazing, how you said he's like, oh, name your top 5 receivers, and he named 2 Titans receivers. It's like, come on, bro, you glazing at this point. And so now a sneaky point, I still think AJ Brown could get moved. I don't know why. I just feel like I can see a world where he get moved and he won't start the season on the Eagles. I know it'd be kind of crazy to trade the guy you just won a Super Bowl with, but he's going to want the ball more. He's like, all right, we won the Super Bowl last year. Now I need to get my numbers. I think that's going to create a rift. Him and Jalen Hurts supposed to be
Mm.
boys, but we saw how that was going last year before they won the Super Bowl. So day 2, he may get moved for a boatload of picks. Somebody's second, somebody else's second in the first.
Hey, let me talk about my team, bro. I'm gonna talk about my team because so my main thing is Jay really liked the pick. With the 13th pick, the Dolphins took Kenneth Grant. Jay liked the pick. I wasn't a huge fan of the pick. I'm like, hey, we have a lot of holes on this team. Why are you taking a defensive tackle this high? We have a lot of holes. We need a cornerback as the number one need because Jalen Ramsey said, hey, I want to be traded. So when your top corner say, hey, I want to be traded, and you have nothing but inexperience at cornerback, that I thought that would have been the biggest need is to go get your corner. And 2 was drafted in the first round. So I was expecting at 13 for them to take Will Johnson. When they didn't, I was like, okay, maybe they're trading because the GM had came out and said, hey, we were offered some picks to move back. But they took him at 13. So with you taking him high and not trading back to help fill more holes on your team, he has to be an impact player day one. Nobody wants to hear, hey, he's struggling, he's learning. No, I don't want to hear none of that. You took him at 13. He's the highest picked player on the Dolphins after Tua. So I don't want to hear none of that. Hey, he's learning. No, you drafted him high. You could have traded back and got him if he's has a learning curve. We don't want to hear that. We have big holes at cornerback. That's the number one need to me is cornerback, and we passed on a few that's went first round. What did you think about the Panthers pick?
I thought, well, hold on. I wanted to acknowledge yours first. Okay. So you weren't a fan of the pick, but you got Kenneth Grant. And I think it was a hell of a pick. I think he actually has the potential to be one of the best D tackles in this draft next to Mason. So, he had the PF grade of 84 this past season. And he was roughly the 90th percentile among active interior defenders. That means he's one of the most elite players, and he ranked in the 95th percentile for run stopping. So that means he's going to clog the hole and get in there. He was at 90.5%, which is nuts. as a pass rusher, the highest of any defensive tackle in this draft. Even in 2024 with a heavy workload, his pass rush grade always stayed above 75, making him one of the only 7 players in the interior linemen to do that with a minimum 500 snaps. I think he could be a steal, bro. And I know you feel like you can get a DB. With some of the guys we've seen fall in the second round, you still can get a quality DB. Darian Porter is still available. Will Johnson's obviously still available. Nicky Mawari is still available. Grant also has a safety. Which is fair, but it's still some quality corners out there. Kobe Bryant's still available, you know.
We'll see. Everybody I asked for, they did pass on. So we'll see. And the GM doesn't have a great track record. That's my main thing. If we had a Steelers GM, I would trust him, but the Dolphins GM does not have a great track record.
Yeah, but I get on props in this one. Like, while nose tackles are often primary run specialists, Grant proved he can collapse the pocket and rush the passer effectively as well. In 2023 and 24, he recorded 8 sacks, 55 QB pressures, which is strong production from an interior lineman, especially in the Michigan system. His pass rushing impact drew a lot of comparisons to Dexter Lawrence. And let's be honest, if you got a little baby Dexter Lawrence in Miami money, you know you would love that. His 2 years of production in the pass rush game, he graded out to an 89.5, which led all draft eligible defensive tackles, indicating what looks like he could be the best defensive tackle in the league. In this draft. So, I don't know, bro. I think you should be more optimistic about him. He looks good. The measurables, the numbers, all that's there. He is a national championship, so he knows about winning.
Let me ask you this. What do you think would make me more optimistic if they get a Will Johnson in the second round, trade up and get him? I think I'll be more optimistic at that point because we need a corner bad.
What if you don't get Will Johnson? What if you get a corner, but it's not Will Johnson per se?
What round?
In the second.
Depends on the corner.
Is there any corners you're not a fan of that's been mentioned?
Not really. I haven't really looked too much at second round corners. I'll say if they drafted Porter, I'll be ecstatic because that's someone with size.
That upside, man. That upside is crazy with him. So I don't blame.
Yeah, I'll be excited if they draft him. But if they don't get a corner or safety in the second round, I'm gonna ask what are they doing? Unless they're not trading Jalen Ramsey, then that's a whole nother conversation. But I think it's gonna cause tensions in the locker room with him saying I want to be traded. Like a lot of dudes don't want to be around a dude who basically don't want to be at the job. They're like, hey, bro, go find another one then. Now let's talk about yours. How do you feel about your pick?
Oh, man. Ted McMillan with the number 8 pick, Carolina selected, and I was not a fan. Excuse me. I was not a fan. I feel like we took a wide receiver in the first round last year. I don't like taking a wide receiver in back-to-back drafts in the first round, especially when we have so many noticeable holes. I like Jalen Walker a lot there. Jalen Walker and Will Johnson are both available. If you didn't want to take Will Johnson because of injury concerns and him not running the 40, totally fine with that. You get Jalen Walker. Jalen Walker's a tweener from an edge rusher and a linebacker. I think he had I think if Carolina's would have took him and molded him into a linebacker opposed to an edge rusher and occasionally let him rush the quarterback, I think that would be best suited that because we let our star linebacker walk last year. Zach Thompson was one of our leading tacklers for most of his career with Carolina, and we let him walk. We would have brought in Jalen, who I think is more athletic than Shaq. He's bigger. Shaq was 5'11", 6 foot 230. Jalen is 6'1", 244. So we got a guy who's bigger, stronger, maybe not stronger, but bigger, faster, more athletic. I think he would have really brought a better presence to the defense, which we clearly need to improve, being one of the league's worst. And at one point, we were on pace to be one of the league's historically worst defense. So you never want to be in that conversation. I think we should have improved the defense, but instead we got a receiver who everyone thinks is the number one. He's he's an average route runner. He didn't run an impressive 40 in my opinion. A 4.53 at wide receiver, that's average to me. borderline below average, but it's not slow, I guess, at 6'5". And he's not 6'5". Everyone keeps saying he's 6'5". He measured in at 6'4", 218. So I want to be optimistic about it. You're trying to get Bryce weapons, but if that's the case, go get a tight end. I think a tight end is more versatile at that pick, opposed to you getting a pass catcher who struggles to get off press coverage, who when he wasn't getting the ball, he refused to one block at points in Arizona. So you're getting a diva already. And this is a personal thing, getting off topic. The nigga seemed corny, bro. Like some of the actions and stuff he was doing, he's like, oh, like the nigga's corny. I don't like corniness, bro. Like I ain't with it. So I was not happy about that. I had an attitude all night with that pick.
You want my thoughts on it?
Yeah.
I agree with you. Would you have wanted Warren, who went to the Colts at 14?
I would have been fine with it. He was rated the number 1 tight end in this draft. So
Him or Loveland?
yeah, Loveland. I mean, Loveland. The thing with the Loveland was considered the better pass catcher, like a Travis Kelce type, and what's his name was considered more of a
Warren.
killer type, where he's great at run blocking. Warren's considered a killer type, where he's good at run blocking and pass catching. That's why Warren was considered a better tight end.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I'll
say
been fine
this.
with one of those.
I'll say this. That makes sense. You need a tight end in any offense.
Yes.
And I'll say this.
There's nothing better than having a safety blanket like that.
The receiver, I just wasn't a fan of, because I'm like, you drafted Leggett last year. Why would you draft the receiver,
Leggett
trade
looked
up,
good,
draft the
too.
receiver at 31? You traded up, draft the receiver at 31, and then the next year you draft the receiver at number 8.
Yeah.
Why?
Because that honestly,
kinda-
picking a receiver that high makes me feel like you don't believe in Xavier. You saw Xavier last year and you felt like he's not number 1. And it's like he got hurt and he played well when he was out there. He took a while to adjust, I will admit. He took a while to adjust to the NFL game, but I didn't see anything to where I was like, oh, we should give up on him. And I felt like with this pick, we're kind of giving up on him being our number 1. Some people are saying we can have a Cincinnati situation or we got a T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, but neither one of them show, as much as I'm not a fan of Jamar Chase, neither one of them showed any level of Jamar Chase ability.
Going up getting that thing.
And I like Xavier, but I never saw him was like, oh, he got Jamar Chase potential, you know? So
I'll say this. With the receiver pick, I know his fastest 40 was like a low 4.4, but to me, it doesn't seem like he get much separation. That means you got to go out there and
he
most
doesn't.
dude.
He struggles in press. He's an average route runner.
That doesn't.
To not
like,
fully
these
bash
corners
him and
are
give him props,
athletic.
I will say with his size, he is on the shiftier side. Like most receivers that big aren't that shifty and no guy. He has good hips. He can make a guy miss. He broke a lot. I think he had 53 broken tackles as a wide receiver. So he can make guys miss, but
That's
getting
strength.
open, I think, is where he's going to struggle. Yeah, he has
Probably
that natural
that's some
strength.
strength.
So,
Yeah. Here's the thing.
so there is upside there, but I don't think it's upside for Carolina having this guy.
My comparison to him right now is, I'll say, unless he shows us he can get open and stuff, my comparison to him is Pittman or Drake London.
Yeah.
Because my best case
pretty
scenario
spot
to
on.
me is Mike Evans. Best case scenario to me is Mike Evans. And if
if
becomes
he's
Mike
Mike
Evans,
Evans,
you got something special.
That's a Hall of Famer. I would take Mike Evans. Yeah, exactly. I'll take Mike Evans if that's what he becomes. But, Mike Evans is 6'5", 230. He's 6'4", 218, so kind of close. But you know who else is 6'4", 218, 214? Drake London. So those comparisons I think you're spot on with.
We'll have to see. I'll say we have to give.
Yeah, we'll see,
give these
man.
picks a chance. We
I'm
give
not
these
gonna
picks
count
a
the kid
chance.
out, but damn, man. I'm kind of feeling like you. I want my team to redeem themselves in the second round. So like how you are on the fence, even though I think that was a great pick for you guys. I'm hoping they redeem themselves in the second round.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you why I feel that way. I feel like the reason why I feel that way is because since we let Christian Wilkins walk, I think they could have paid him earlier, but not for what he got. I think the GM is like, well, since y'all so mad about Christian Wilkins, I'm gonna go get his replacement. That's what it seems like.
Yeah. And you might got him with him, bro. He looks really good. Another thing too, Money. What did you think of Christian Wilkins last year?
He was bad last year, but when he was a Dolphin, he was a baller.
Of course. But sometimes you got to see it a year or two advance as the GM. That's why the Patriots are so successful for so long, because they were letting guys walk before they hit that wall. And people was like, you let so-and-so walk? And then they had a good year, and then the next year, drop off. So sometimes you got to let a guy go before they get to that point. And then now you're on the, imagine you had Christian Wilkins last year and you're on the hook for $20 million a year.
No, I'm good on that one.
Yeah, so
I'd have paid him 18, 17, but no, he was making what, 26, some ridiculous amount. Nah, I'm good on that one.
I was
don't
being
wanna do
modest.
that
I was
one.
just throwing a number out there. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So that's tough. So tonight we have round 2, correct, of the NFL draft.
Start at 7.
Where does Shador go?
I'm gonna say he ends if I'm gonna say this, if Cleveland passes on him, I think he's gonna be a Saint. That's the best team I can see is the Saint. I think he'll be a Saint.
I saw a mock draft before we got on today, and it pissed me off because they said they had him going middle of the 3rd round. And I'm like, Shador Sanders is the best quarterback in this draft. How do you let this guy fall to the middle of the
This a
3rd?
steal.
I don't see him. It is a steal, but it's like, damn, like the whole NFL passed on this man 3 times?
Hey Jay, he goes in the middle of the 3rd and the Dolphins don't pick him up. I'm going in a blind rage. Like, doggone Dolphins, how you not pick this guy in the
You
3rd?
can't pick him up, Money. Even if he falls to the 6th round, you can't take him as the Dolphins, because no matter what round he's taken, fans are going to be calling for him to start the moment Tua throws 1 interception. And you're going to be
That's
the
the
loudest
point.
person on that
Yeah, oh
bandwagon.
yeah. You are,
That
oh
is
yeah.
not a
You already
smart
know.
move.
Hey, you already know. Oh yeah. I'm gonna be leading that Shador, the Shadorneers. You know, I'll be leading them Shadorneers. That's gonna be that new term. I'll be
He's
part
going to have his
Shadorneers.
jersey on every time we get on. Like, yeah, man, I got my Shador jersey on. But
Sure enough.
honestly, Cleveland was crazy for that. If Cleveland's able to get him in the 2nd round, then hey, my hat's off to Cleveland, because I don't think they're a serious organization. If they pull that off, getting him in the 2nd round and adding a guy like Mason Graham to their defense and load up for next year's draft, I gotta give it to Cleveland if they do that. But
What
as of
would you
right
do
now,
if
it
you're
looks
Cleveland?
wild.
Where do you think he's going?
Man, I get it. That was a hard trade to turn down. You give me your 5th this year, your 2nd round pick, and the 1st next year, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe it was a 3rd this year.
Yeah,
Your first,
no, a 2nd and a 4th, and they're giving up.
and they got their first next year.
year.
They get the first next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's hard to turn that down as Cleveland. So I get it, but man, you need a quarterback. So I mean,
betting.
I don't want Shador in Cleveland though. I think that's a bad
Jay,
fit.
you're betting Jacksonville's going to be bad.
That is true. You're betting. That is 100% correct. You're betting Jacksonville is going to be bad. It's like what was it, last year or the year before? The Texans bet on themselves. They traded their pick instead of someone else's pick to move up and go get what's his name, Will Anderson.
Yes.
And it was like,
Will
we're going to
Anderson.
trade this pick. We're going to trade our pick instead of this pick, because it's like, we're not going to be a bad team. They bet on themselves and it worked out. They ended up
Yeah.
trading the worser pick, which was theirs, and had the better pick. So sometimes it works out for you. But where would I like Shador to go at this point, man? I want to see him get drafted. Someone said the Colts could be a scary one, but they already brought in Vanilla Vic to compete with Anthony Richardson. So I don't see them taking the quarterback. You know who Vanilla Vic is, right?
I want to hear you say his name.
You know they was calling him that for a while, Vanilla Vic. It was like they were making posters and everything, Vanilla Vic with Daniel Jones on it. But yeah, they got those two there.
That's a garbage can quarterback right there. That's a garbage can quarterback right there. Vanilla Vic. Vanilla trash can boy. That dude sucks. That dude sucks.
I can see a world where Dallas takes him, which is kind of crazy, but Dallas does crazy things. Man,
Are you giving up
I
on
really
Dak?
had them going to the Giants. It's not that you're giving up on Dak, but Shador is polarizing. Him and Dallas is the most polarizing team in the NFL. Dak's contract is 3 years. Let Shador sit for that time and learn, like some Jordan Love type stuff. So he just slide right in. He's from Texas. He wouldn't mind it. Teams that need a quarterback that I could think of off the top of my head: Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Minnesota doesn't seem like they're fully bought in with JJ.
The Raiders.
Who else needs a quarterback now? I'm not thinking of. The Raiders could use a quarterback. Let him sit behind Geno. He originally wanted to go to the Raiders when they were on path to get the top 2 picks. So Seattle, Seattle traded and got him in our mock draft.
Yeah, the Saints.
So
The Saints.
I don't want to go Saints, but yeah, the Saints need a quarterback.
I
think that's a spot too. The way it's looking, because apparently Carr might not play next year. I just learned that today. So if it looking like it is going to be the Saints are going to be the team that go get him. Once again, that's a poor organization. I don't want him to go to the Saints.
What if they pass on him? Where does he go?
It got to be Cleveland. It got to be Cleveland.
Jay, if they pass on him, if the Saints pass on him, I think it's a potential that he goes in the 3rd round. Because the Steelers, unless the Steelers go and get him. If the Saints,
Dak did go Dak went in the 4th round, and he's considered a top 10 quarterback. But damn, Shador Sanders in the 4th round, 3rd round, that was unfathomable to me.
Yes,
it's like you guys thought so highly of Cam Ward after 1 year, and we saw Shador take the Colorado, who won 1 game, win 4, and then become a real contender, win 9 games. So I don't know, man. But we'll see. I'm definitely looking forward to it. He should be one of the first names called tonight. But that's all I got, man. You got anything else you want to add?
No, that's all I got. I'm ready for round 2. See if my team can redeem themselves.
I'm ready for round 2 tonight. Yes, let's see if Carolina can figure it out. Let's see if the Dolphins can do something. But, all right, I knew this was going to go a little long because we both had a lot of opinions on the NFL draft. The draft is going to start in approximately 1 minute, day 2. Someone's going to trade up and get Shador. That's my big shot for tonight. It's going to be a team trade up in the 2nd round and go get him. Who, I'm not sure yet. You know who I would love? My dark horse guess? LA Rams. Could you imagine Matthew Stafford on his last ride with Sean McVay? Shador sitting behind him for a year. Matthew Stafford rides off into the sunset. Shador Sanders steps up with his motherfucking cake on.
Got Puka.
He has Puka. Come on now.
Devontae Adams.
LA's a big market. Shador needs to be in a big market to shine the most. So that's my dark horse. But
okay, we'll see.
That's all we got for this one. If you made it this long in the video, thank you so much for watching. Please hit that like button. Please hit that sub button. Leave a comment. We've been getting comments lately, and we appreciate it. And we're gonna have some. We got a little surprise I'm making for y'all next week. A lot of guys have been talking about it. We got some stuff going on next week, so next week's gonna be very special. Until then, I'm Jason HD. This F Money.
Oh, yeah.
Peace.
Take it easy, y'all.